All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order. Today is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. It is 9:01 a.m. All council members are present, including town manager, deputy town manager, town clerk, and town attorney. If you'll please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
As we begin this meeting, let us be thankful for every seat that has been filled here today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room, for many old and fast friends, for acquaintances of a brief time, and those of whom we have yet to meet. Grant us guidance and wisdom. Help us to engage in meaningful, productive discussions that nurture our community as we work together for the good of our citizens and visitors. And let us leave here today with our hearts and heads filled with hope for a bright future. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is the approval of the final agenda. There are a few changes, or one change to the agenda under the, where am I at? Public hearings, item C, the rescinding and revocation resolution 25-305 is going to be removed from the agenda. Are there any other adjustments to the agenda?
Move to approve as amended.
A motion by Counselor King. I'll second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Also, a change at the request of staff. I'm going to make a motion to cancel Thursday's MMP meeting, which will be covered, the information will be covered on the 17th of November. Just and other things to be fully ready for that meeting on Monday. So we're going to move that information till next meeting to discuss. Is that correct, Mr. Manager?
November 17th.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to
When was the MNP scheduled? Just
this Thursday.
Thursday. So we're
Mayor,
canceling.
may I add a comment?
Absolutely.
So also on your M&P schedule, there was a proposed ordinance, but that was really more for informational purposes, and I can provide that update to you during today's meeting. And then I believe the other two items were committee reports.
Great.
So MNP for November 6th at 9 o'clock is going to be, that agenda will be shifted to the 17th?
The discussions from that agenda, yes. will
Okay,
be done.
very good. All right, thank you.
So there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mayor Allard, seconded by Councilor Woodson. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Next, we have public comment. Madam Clerk,
I have nobody signed up.
is there anyone that would like to speak in public comment? All right, seeing none, we will close public comment. Local achievements and recognitions. Councilor Safford?
I actually have three. I want to thank Keep Lee County Beautiful for their waterway cleanup over the weekend. They had over 100 volunteers. Tuna Skin helped out quite a bit. They had people on boats, paddle boards, you name it, out in mangroves, cleaning everything up. So really, hats off to everyone who volunteered and helped with that effort. Secondly, I want to congratulate Bonita Fish House. Their grand opening is this morning. Unfortunately, we can't be there, obviously, but it's exciting that we have in the next by the time the Whale opens up, we'll have 4 new restaurants on the island. So that's fantastic. And finally, Jackie at the Chamber needs some more volunteers and sponsors for the sand sculpting. I want to thank Councilman King, who's actually one of the sponsors. Thank you, John. And that's all I have.
Good. Councilor Woodson?
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't partake, but according to the Facebook, which is the authority, I hear that the Halloween pub crawl was a blast, and it looked like a ton of people turned out for it. So unfortunately, had to miss it, but good job, everyone.
Vice Mayor?
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but I stopped by Santini Plaza this morning, and a little bit of a change up in terms of our restaurant agenda there in Santini Plaza. New York Pizza and Pasta is no longer going to be at Santini Plaza, but their sister organization, I'm going to, hopefully I pronounce this correctly. It's Legno. I think it's called Lino's. They have a restaurant in the area already, and it's still similar fare, kind of Italian, higher Italian fare, not super fancy, but nice Italian restaurant. Just a different kind of a brand for them. I'm going to do a little research on that and post something this morning, but they're having a job fair this morning, and they've got their managers there, and they're looking to hire some good folks. Again, it's in Santini Plaza. Legno is the name. It's called. It's an Italian kitchen is how they're billing it. legnoik.com is a good way to get up to date. And if you want to reach out regarding the job fair, that would be great. So everything's still a go with the restaurant. There's just not going to be New York Pizza and Pasta. It's going to be Lino's, I think is how it's pronounced. They will be hopefully, I talked to the manager this morning, hopefully opening the first week of December, which would be the first restaurant officially opened on the south side of Fort Myers Beach. So we're very excited about that, and just I think it's all good news. And the place, it's tremendous activity there this morning, and it's looking like they're making real progress. That's all I've got.
That's great. Hopefully they're double staffing because they're going to be extremely busy, I think. And everybody be patient with them. Counselor King?
Just to add to what Scott said, it was Chris and I that sponsored it, so thank you. We had a couple of nice events at Town Hall this last week. We had an internal ribbon cutting, and thanks to the HR department, to Lisa and Shelby, and all those that coordinated that. I'm proud of our town employees, and I appreciate what they do for our residents, our businesses, visitors, and it was cool to have a time capsule that will be opened in 10 years, and we all got these little vials that we could put our mementos in to be opened in 10 years, and I went out to the beach and got some renourished sand and put it in there so people can get granular 10 years from now. We also had a Halloween decorating festivity, I guess, or that was pretty cool as well. Came down Friday to see everybody's doors decorated and their costumes. It was very fun, creative, and very festive, and it was a good time. So thanks for that. And then I guess I'll say publicly, since this is our last opportunity to do so, congratulations to our Public Information Officer, Nicole. She's accepted a exciting position in, I believe it's her native Wisconsin, and thanks for all you've done. And that's all I have.
Well, all of mine have been covered except for one. I just want to take a minute to thank the fire department. Yesterday, we had a little scare at Wahoo Willie's with one of our island residents, who we all know, both he and his wife very well, who have been instrumental since the storm. He's fine. Went to a concert last night. He was fine, but it was a bit of a scare. So good job with reaction by the fire department, and we certainly appreciate all they do. All right, next we have no presentations that I'm aware of. Okay. Advisory committees, items and report. AAC. Come on up, Chris.
Good morning, Mayor Allers, Vice Mayor Adderholt, council members, town manager, and town staff. I'm Chris King, spouse of Councilor John King, proudly celebrating King Day since May of 1990. I am chair of the Anchorage Advisory Committee, and on behalf of my fellow committee members, Vice Chair John Wesley Nash, former Vice Chair Sam Lurie, unofficial historian Ted Lawwell, and members Ed Schoonover and Jennifer Rusk, I'm here to give you a brief report on our recent discussions and activities. First of all, thank you very much for reappointing me to another term on the committee. I've greatly enjoyed my time and have benefited from the wealth of boating and island experience of many of my fellow committee members. Thank you also for allowing me and our Harbor Master Curtis Ludwig to participate in a boat around on Beach Talk Radio on Saturday, October 18th. That 1-hour broadcast gave us a great opportunity to show off what marine operations and the Matanzas Mooring Field are all about. We were literally able to walk people through the amenities that are offered by the mooring field, from the bathrooms and laundry facilities at Matanzas in to the dinghy dock. Then we went out into the mooring field, and Curtis demonstrated how boats moor and why certain protocols are in place to ensure that boats, wildlife, and properties along the bay are safe. The committee is very supportive of and willing to assist with any efforts to proactively tell the positive story of the mooring field and the many benefits it offers to the town. Staying on the subject of promotion, I would like to ask permission of the council to move forward with planning of our next Cruisers Appreciation Day event. We've tentatively set that for Sunday, October 12th, from noon to 3 at Bayside Park. Our event earlier this year was a great success, and we look forward to an even bigger turnout by moving it up a couple of weeks to a time when more boats should be in the mooring field. We should have a bit over $2,000 in the 2026 budget, with $1,577 left from our last year's event and another $500 that was placed in the budget to operate the event. We request the opportunity to follow the same guidelines the town specified earlier this year in being able to reach out to monetary sponsors and also businesses for in-kind prize donations. We've put a hold on the date on the town and other FMB organizations' calendars, so we should be good from that standpoint. And we'll obviously follow through with all of the permitting and other required actions. So I'm wondering if you have any questions or concerns, and if we may have your permission to move forward with planning that event again.
Did you say October 12th?
No,
Yes,
April
you did.
12th.
You did say October, that's, yeah.
Well, apparently I can't read April, so April
Oh,
12th.
okay.
That makes more sense.
That makes.
Thank you.
Like-
All right, sorry.
All right.
The
no, it's
one
all good.
fault in my wife.
I know.
Ooh,
Sorry.
tread lightly, my friend, tread lightly.
April 12th.
There's none, remember, none.
And
Any
Scott, any other
concerns?
questions?
No, sir.
Counselor Woodson?
No, I think it's all fabulous.
Great. Jim?
As the liaison to the Anchorage Advisory Committee, thank you for your continued leadership, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
John?
Please move forward, and thank you.
Okay,
Very good.
excellent. Our committee will be very excited.
Looking forward to it.
I have a few other items.
Go ahead.
Certainly, we spend a lot of time talking about the condition of the mooring field, its occupancy, and ways to improve the experience for our visiting boaters. We're particularly anxious for the remaining 6 mooring balls to be put back into service, and understand our harbor master and others are working to set meetings with the Coast Guard to discuss that situation. Our committee also is very interested in any information as it becomes available about plans for canal maintenance and dredging. Navigable, safe canals are of vital importance to our residents, and our committee members would like the opportunity to be part of that discussion as it comes forward. Lastly, I understand the council might be interested in discussing roles and responsibilities related to the Anchorage Advisory Committee and other committees. As some background, this has been a topic of conversation since I joined the committee a couple of years ago. The first thing I did was ask for any background documents that laid out the roles and responsibilities of the committee so that I could get a level set on what our expectations were. I did receive several documents that had multiple different varying dates of establishment and varying list of responsibilities, nothing really lined up. To be fair, we didn't really concentrate on that for a while because 2 years ago, the mooring field was still very much in recovery phase. And so that was the focus of our efforts, is making sure that we could get as many mooring systems back online as possible. Then within a year, the harbor master left, and Curtis joined the staff as our new harbor master. So we've either been in deep recovery state or in an onboarding plus recovery state. But now with input from the committee, I have assembled a 2-page draft document summarizing what we think our roles and responsibilities might be. That's based on what was included in those original documents and then realigned to current state. Curtis has a copy of that document. He can make it available to all of you. And please let us know how we can assist you in moving forward. We really just want to know what your expectations are of us and how we can best serve our community. And that's all that I have, unless you have any questions.
Chris, I've had a few residents over the last couple of weeks reach out to me with concerns about the no wake in the Back Bay. Is it something the Anchorage Advisory Committee can look into, more ways of educating? You know, we always get transient people coming in, but I've noticed it too. There's been some pretty heavy speeding through there. I know it's Lee County Sheriff's Department that and the Coast Guard that do that, but if we could continue to look at ways to educate, to tell those people, as people are getting back into their
Yep.
homes and fixing their seawalls and replacing their boats, and it's just a common courtesy thing to recognize that no wake.
Yep, that's very relevant. We actually have a concerned citizen who has organized a roundtable for the 10th of November, I believe
good,
it is.
good.
And so we have been invited to participate. Curtis or Frankie are going, maybe both. I plan to go. She has invited all of the right people to have this discussion. And it's really to just talk about proactively, what can we do to help reinforce, educate, make sure that people are being good citizens in their boats? Because there are a number of reasons. As you said, we don't want to cause property damage. There could be damage to wildlife, and it's just a safety issue. So that discussion's happening on November 10th, and I will bring back a report.
Great.
Well, and I think one of the main things too is we take our boat out, there is no more signage. I mean, you go all the way down, up and down the pass, and there is zero signage anywhere.
Yep.
So I think a lot of that has to be replaced. I mean, that would be like a first step.
Right. And I know that we did have a report from the same citizen. She actually was able to capture some dinghies that were obviously going faster than the wake zone. And so Curtis went out and he talked to them and explained things, and they were great about it. They just need to know. So I think, the signage is one big thing we can do, but also understanding who is responsible for enforcing it, what is the protocol for reporting it, how do we keep it under control?
And if I'm not mistaken, is the county's responsibility for the signs back there? I don't know, after, I think it was Irma, we had an issue down in Bay Beach where the no wake signs were washed away. And it took a long time and a long process to go through to get those replaced.
And there's nothing down there now.
And so, yeah, and I think that's something, and it took a long time, a lot of conversations to be able to get them there, because there's a process, as you know.
Yeah.
It's very lengthy to go through, but getting the signs back as soon as we can certainly would help educate.
Well, I know the LCSO has been invited to attend this meeting,
Okay.
so hopefully all of those types of points will be brought forward, and we'll figure out who's responsible for doing what and hold people accountable.
Okay. I could go back through all my notes from a few years ago and probably set all the contacts, if that would be helpful.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Scott, any questions for Chris?
No, thanks for
Mayor.
all you do.
Thank you.
John?
Good job, dear.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right, next we have an appointment to the Marine and Environmental Resource Task Force. There's one vacancy, and Mr. Todd Zaccanelli has put his, you mentioned the pasta, it's my favorite food. I'm not gonna mess that name up. Do we have to fill out our form, since it's one?
We did not create a ballot since there's only one.
Okay,
So if you can just announce your vote on the record.
okay. Counselor Safford, how would you vote for Mr. Zaccanelli?
Mr. Zaccanelli, thank you so much for your service. Aye.
Counselor Woodson?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Vice Mayor?
I am an aye, and I would add a thank you to that.
You-
Oh, sorry. Aye and thank you.
Counselor Kick?
As the liaison, I say welcome, Todd, and I've got my support as well.
Thank you for stepping up. Good enough, or do you want an actual motion?
A motion is always good.
All right,
Um,
I will make a motion to recognize
To certify and appoint,
to certify and appoint Mr. Zaccanelli to the MRF committee based on the comments from all of our council members.
I second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Next, we have the approval of the minutes. I don't have the minutes, or do I have the minutes? I just don't have them. I don't have the dates. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
There are no
That's what I
minutes
thought.
attached.
I didn't see any, just making sure I didn't have the wrong. Next is our consent agenda. We have three items on there, all resolutions pertaining to state of emergencies for local storms. Resolution 25-307 through 25-310 for Tropical Storm Debbie. Resolution 25-311 through 25-314 for Hurricane Helene. And resolutions 25-315 through 25-318 for Hurricane Milton. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor,
Yes,
if I
sir.
could interject with personal privilege for a second. If there's those who believe it's time to shift from a state of emergency, and I think if maybe we could clarify for some folks why this is necessary and a benefit to the town, that might clear up some of that confusion.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if, Will, you want to handle this, or you want me to?
Maybe.
Oh,
well,
Mike,
I
Nancy.
can add,
Nancy?
generally, it's related to recovery of monies that have been requested due to hurricane damage.
And-
So if we closed it out, then the issue becomes, well, they're no longer in a state of emergency. Granted, the request was made prior to it, but we keep them open just in an abundance of caution.
And usually don't we run alongside with the state of Florida, like
We
they did
do.
with
Yeah.
E, and eventually they cancel it.
And this also gives condo associations extra, the ability to use their emergency powers during this time as well if they need them.
Yes, because it is an official local state of emergency, correct?
Thank you for clearing that up. Appreciate it.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
A motion by Counselor King,
Second.
seconded by Counselor Safford. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. All right. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing for review of various land use requests for the benefit of the public. Please be aware that these items are quasi-judicial in nature. Our attorney will further explain.
Thank you, Mayor. On your agenda today, we really only have one item, and it is the second reading of a proposed home rule development agreement for the property, and I'll defer to you as that item comes up. But the home rule development agreements, they are quasi-judicial in nature, and this requires that our final hearing comply with the procedural requirements that have been established in Florida law and in our land development code. So our proceeding today is going to be less formal than a proceeding before circuit court, but it will be more formal than the remainder of our meeting, and we will follow basic standards of due process that requires certain notices, the application of the correct standards, and that your decision is made on competent substantial evidence that has been presented to you either in written documents or through oral testimony. So your responsibility today is to evaluate the testimony and the information for this item and draw a conclusion whether the criteria in the Land Development Code or in state law has been satisfied. So speculation or opinion not based on competent facts cannot legally be considered by you in evaluating an agenda item. Testimony by professionals who have been qualified as experts in a particular area has been viewed as competent evidence by Florida courts, as well as testimony by neighbors, residents who have fact-based information, such as minutes, surveys, engineering reports, or testimony that is based on their personal information. So your decision is final, and if you decide to deny the application or the request, the reason for your denial needs to be stated in the motion. Your denial cannot be based on a determination of public support or public opposition to an application. The reason for the denial cannot be arbitrary, discriminatory, or unreasonable, and it should be based on a lack of competent and substantial evidence in support of the request. Denial of an application or request is denial with prejudice unless you otherwise state. So members of the public who may be present, if you intend to speak, please keep my comments in mind. When you come forward, if you would state your name clearly for the record, whether or not you've been sworn in, and your qualifications or your interest in this matter. So for purposes of efficiency, before we begin this public hearing, I would like to go ahead and address a few items. First, I need to ask the town clerk if this item has been properly advertised pursuant to our Land Development Code.
Yes, it has been.
And at this time, if any member of town council has a conflict of interest that would prohibit them from voting on this item, if you could please disclose that at this time, that way we can ascertain whether we have a quorum present for the review of this matter.
Counselor Safford?
I do not.
Counselor Woodson?
I have none.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
None.
Counselor King?
None.
And I do not have any as well.
So again, because we have some formalities that we'd like to adhere to, if there's anyone who is present that would like to provide testimony or offer evidence to the town council regarding this matter, if you would please stand and raise your right hand, this would include staff, to be sworn in by the town clerk. Stand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, I'll authorities have been sworn.
So Mayor, if you could read the title, and again, this is the second reading for final review and adoption.
Sure can. This is a quasi-judicial agenda item, is a second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 25-17. This is an ordinance of the town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving or denying a home rule development agreement for property located at 110-130 Connecticut Street, Parcel 1, and 134-138 Connecticut Street, Parcel 2, Fort Myers Beach, Florida. Strap numbers 29-46-24-W1-00151.0010 and 29-46-24-W1-00151.001A, and owned by First Baptist Church of Fort Myers, Inc., as authorized by Section 2-100 of the Town's Land Development Code, and in compliance with the procedures for application and approval of development agreements with deviations set forth in Resolution Number 24-73 and amended by Resolution 24-247 for the purpose of redevelopment of the parcels 1 and 2 to allow building a church facility and 12 single-family homes, providing for terms and conditions including but not limited to the identification of the proposed use of the property, a finding in consistency with the Town of Fort Myers Beach Comprehensive Plan, commitments and development obligations, deviations needed for development, providing for other clarifications as necessary, providing for conflicts of law, scrivener's errors, severability, and providing an effective date. If any town council member has had any ex parte communication to disclose, please let us know the subject discussed and identity of the person, group, or entity with whom the communication took place, any correspondence that you received, or observations made of the site. Counselor Safford?
Since the last hearing, I've received, I believe, only one email kind of against the project, but other than that, I've not had any discussions with anyone involved.
Counselor Woodson?
I would say the same as Counselor Stafford. I have, since the last meeting, just the same thing.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
I believe I've had one text in support of the proposal since the last meeting.
Counselor Kane?
Same as Karen and Scott.
And I have had the same as Counselor King, Counselor Woodson, and Counselor Safford. Jason Green has been qualified as an expert by this town council based on his education and experience, has been accepted as an expert in the field of land use, planning, and development in the town of Fort Myers Beach. Are there any other individuals who would like to be qualified as an expert witness on behalf of the applicant at this time? Come on up. I believe you were at the last meeting? Okay, is there anyone new?
Push the button.
Yeah,
Point
push
of
the button to
order.
talk. There you
He
go.
wasn't a part of the swearing in, so if we could go ahead and take care of that.
Oh.
Individually
Okay.
for him, he just missed it. He just said,
I didn't see him come in.
If you'll raise your right hand, I'll swear you in real quick. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right.
Could you just state your name for the record?
It's Jonathan Thomas.
Thank you.
Hi. Good morning. I am Rachel Thomas. I'm not sure if I'm kin to Jonathan, but I'll claim him. I am here on behalf of Pavese Law Firm in place of Neil Montgomery, who was here at the last hearing and is out for this week. I'm a land use attorney there at Pavese Law Firm. I have not been accepted as an expert witness before this board before, but I am a land use law attorney with 4 years of experience at Pavese, and I do respectfully request to be accepted as an expert witness for land use law. Also with us is Jennifer Sapin, who was at the previous hearing and has been accepted here as an expert in land use planning. And then also for the applicant is Al Catrone, who is our expert in engineering, who can go through his qualifications if needed when he testifies.
Okay, we'll have him come up and we can do both at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
Al? Great name, by the way.
At least part of it.
Yeah.
I know it's not Quattrone like the logo. I am Al Quattrone, president of Quattrone and Associates. I've had the company for about 25 years now. I've been doing hundreds, if not more, projects throughout Lee County, Fort Myers, and so on, including zoning cases, engineering, and so on. So be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Al or Jennifer?
No.
Is there a motion to accept Rachel and Al as expert witnesses in this case?
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion by Counselor King, seconded by Counselor Woodson. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, you are now experts. Has the property owner applicant seen a copy of the agenda backup materials from staff? They're all nodding heads. Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
Good morning, Jason Green, Community Development. I'll be brief because I know the applicant has a presentation. In your packet, I'll try to cover a couple of things that have changed between the first and second reading. The exhibit numbering was a slight modification just because the sketch and description of the property were combined into one exhibit versus an A1 and B1, that's the type of thing. And then you also have a strike-through underlined version of the agreement as part of your packet and on the exhibits to the ordinance, which includes the changes such as deviations. So the applicant has modified the request for the deviations, including the 5-foot setback that was previously part of that. They've eliminated that, I think based on changing the site plan, making slight modifications to it to accommodate the 6.5-foot setback, side yard setback versus the 5 that I think was discussed by Councilman Stafford. Safford, excuse me.
The merit.
In there, yes. And I'm trying to think of what else. Sorry, just get this here. And so there's 2 deviations that were requested to be removed as part of that. And so now there are deviation 1, deviation 2, and deviation 3 as part of Exhibit E. And the staff report has essentially been updated for the dates and including the discussion that we had for those deviations. And the findings have stayed the same, and the staff recommendation has remained the same since the first meeting. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Scott, any questions for Jason?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Counselor Woodson?
I'll wait until we get further in.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Not at this point.
Counselor King?
Nothing currently.
Yeah, I'll hold mine too. Thanks, Jason.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Jonathan?
Good morning. So we're back, and I think we did introductions last time, so I'll keep mine brief, and we'll get to Jennifer because she's better at this anyway. We tried to, since the last meeting, address some of the concerns that you guys brought up, one being the setbacks, which Jason mentioned. And then also, we did get the trailers demolished, and we did pay the water bills to try to clear some of the outstanding issues. So that's basically all I've got, unless y'all have questions for me, and we'll let Jennifer go through the presentation.
Okay. Will, has those 2 things, issues been cleared up? Is that property now in compliance?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor.
Very good. Any questions for Jonathan? Scott?
No, thank you for changing the setbacks. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Karen?
Thank you. No.
Okay. Jim?
Not at this time.
John?
Nothing.
Jennifer?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Again, for the record, my name is Jennifer Sapin. I'm an AICP certified land planner. So the site is shown here at southeast corner of Estero and Connecticut Street. It's surrounded by single-family homes, predominantly in the RC zoning district. The zoning maps are shown here. On the left is the existing, on the right, proposed. The pink star is where the subject property is. So you'll see that the RC zoning is just a continuation of the zoning that's already on either side of the property. The future land use of the property is medium residential. That allows 3 types of residential uses: smaller single-family lots, high-rise buildings, and RV parks. This developer agreement will eliminate the bottom 2, and this is why we think the community is in support of this project. This is the revised site plan. As mentioned, the side setbacks have changed, and we made a couple other changes to buffers. The residential portion on the west side is 2 acres. That will be the rezoning from IN to RC for the development of 12 single-family lots. That request is consistent with the future land use allowable density. On the east side, there's a 1.1 acre parcel. That will be for the church redevelopment, and there's no zoning change on that. The proposed site plan, as Jason mentioned, 2 of the deviations have been removed. The first deviation was for the setback to Connecticut Street. For that, we just realized, looking deeper into the code, there's a land development code provision that says lots that are 50 feet or less the setback is only 10 feet. Our setback there is 11, so we don't need that deviation. We also don't need the side setback deviation any longer. We have increased that to meet the land development code. So where the building separation the last time I was here was 10 feet, the building separation now is increased to 13 feet. And with that, of course, no deviation is needed, bringing our deviations down to 3. The first is an alley setback, allowing the building to be as close as 10 feet to the alley, but that's for an undulation in the building. The driveway will still be required to be 20 feet, so a car can park in there, and you had some questions about the parking. There will be parking inside the building, under the building. That driveway is just really for guest parking.
Okay.
The rear setback is also requested to be reduced from 20 feet to 10 feet, and again, that's internal to the site with no off-site impacts. The intersection separation, that is the same as what we discussed last time. And I know you had some concerns, Mayor, about potentially people pulling into the alley thinking that they were going to the church. And I didn't think of it at the time, but in the developer agreement, the church is required to have a traffic maintenance program. And so I know, like, when I dropped my daughter off at school, when I was younger, I dropped her off at school, every morning someone would come out there and put cones and manage the traffic. So I would say that there'll be a program in place if that does become a problem. The landscaping has changed because of that increased side setback. The buffers around the perimeter decreased. Previously, when I came last time, the buffers were 15 feet. Now they are 10 feet wide. Now, I want you to keep in mind, though, the code does not require any buffers at all. So these buffers are above and beyond what is required by code and done voluntarily. The planting materials are the same as what was proposed last time, 5 trees per 100 feet. And this graphic here shows what those plantings would look like. And with double hedge. The buffer on Estero Street still remains 15 feet wide. We also heard you had some concerns about the wall, potential drainage problems, but we still wanted to keep a wall to block the lights at the end of that dead end. So to resolve those issues, we created 2 small walls just at the very end of the road. It does a couple of things. One, it brings the wall closer to the light source, closer to the car. The alley on the left here, of course, those car lights would really only come from the last 2 lots. And then the alley on the right, it's further away. It's about 60 feet from the property line. So you've got detention, open space, and then vegetation in there. We think that'll really buffer that single-family homes while still providing the wall for the lights.
Jennifer, it's a minimal thing, but I forgot to ask it at the first one. With these alleys, will these homes have for trash and recycling, will they have their own individual, just like any other home, or will it be a dumpster setup, kind of like a commercial?
Do you know that?
Just curious about the trucks backing in.
But the dumpster? Or?
No, I think it would be individual, like a neighborhood.
Individual like a neighbor, okay.
Okay, so that we think that this southern buffer then will be able to be enjoyed more by both sides as well, because if the wall was installed, the landscaping would have to be only on the one side, and so now both sides can enjoy that vegetation. The church parcel, it's unchanged from what I showed last time. This is the development order plan showing the landscaping. What I want to point out here is they're all native plants, 56 trees and 239 shrubs are with that proposal. The developer agreement, this is unchanged from last time. There's a handful of uses that we are prohibiting. We have also added with the developer agreement that no overnight RV parking also for the residential. We only had it on the church before, and now it's on both parcels. So in conclusion, we have reduced the deviations from 5 to 3 by listening to your concerns. The trailers have been demolished and outstanding water bills have been paid. And through the implementation of this developer agreement, the proposal then is consistent with the comprehensive plan of the Land Development Code. Staff is recommending approval, and we ask for your approval today.
All right. John, any questions for Jennifer?
Nothing.
Vice Mayor?
Is this the conclusion of your remarks?
Yes, it is.
Would you, just for folks who are watching, could you just take it up 10,000 feet to give us summation? I mean, there's a lot of history here, and the purpose of this whole development is to help facilitate the survival of a church here on our island. Do you want to talk a little bit about the roots of this proposal and what and why you became involved?
So we talked a little bit about this in the last hearing, but one of our partners, Aaron Coe, grew up with Sean and his brother Shane. Sean's the pastor of the church. So after the hurricane, Sean and really Shane reached out to Aaron and just said, look, you know, the church didn't have any insurance. We're looking for a way to figure out how we can come out of this. And so Aaron has a relationship with Steve, who's the founder of our company, and us being real estate developers, we came down and looked, and, you know, we're trying to figure out a way that we could bring the church back. And as we talked about last time, we started out with the idea of doing a condominium tower. That didn't go over particularly well. So after having some meetings and feedback from the town, we decided to go with the 12 single-family residence, which is consistent with the comp plan, and we felt like was the most expedient way to get the church back open and operational, which was their goal, and we wanted to help them with that.
And that's what I want to get to, because this would not be a project you'd normally be involved in, but part of your purpose, your raison d'etre, if you will, is to help in these kind of situations, help a church that's been hit hard and help them survive and flourish again. Is that a fair characterization?
It is, and also, you know, this is broader picture, but a lot of churches across the country have real estate that, you know, they're not necessarily using, and many churches are land rich and resource, you know, short. So aside from the hurricane, you know, the fact that they have that real estate is a good asset to set them up to, you know, operate for the next 100 years, hopefully. I mean, that's the plan, is to put them in a position where they can operate, you know, going forward for decades.
And I was curious, of course, it's known as Beach Baptist Church, but your PowerPoint is referenced as First Baptist Church. Is there a reason for that nuance?
No.
Okay.
Just oversight, I guess.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something there. And again, I don't know if there's anybody from the church here today. I think I see someone, but I don't know if he wants to speak or not. But I do think at some point it would be great to know what the future plans are for the church. I think they're very exciting. And I think it's also important to state for the record that this is a church that was just hammered by Hurricane Ian. And every church had its own unique situation. I was a member of Chapel by the Sea, and after the destruction of the church, it was, you know, really difficult to sort of, the parent organization was not terribly helpful and re-engaging, and we had some wonderful members that were adopted by a nearby church. But at Beach Baptist Church, pretty uniquely, they not only were hammered by the hurricane, but they embraced the need to help people after the hurricane. And they were on that property ASAP, and they started all kinds of ministries, food pantries. They were serving meals. I mean, it was an amazing operation there. When many folks fled the island, they not only didn't flee, they re-embraced the island at a time that was extremely difficult for Fort Myers Beach. And I just think it's commendable that you're working with them to find a way to resurrect this church on our islands, particularly at a time when the churches have become even more important to our community. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, John, a quick story. When, after the storm, just piggybacking on what the vice mayor said, Congressman Donalds came down and we took him around the island to show, and he had looked at the island, obviously from the helicopter, but not had been on the ground yet. And he particularly took interest in Beach Baptist Church, because from the air, he remembered seeing that big blue
It was hard to
roof
miss.
that was still there. And I remember him saying to me, he's like, you know, it doesn't look that bad from the air. And I said, well, wait till you see it on the ground. And then when we started walking, we went by the front of that building, the roof was there, but everything, as you remember, was completely gone. Like a flamethrower went through, and all it was there was the posts holding up the roof. And I think that's when it really hit him that this was really a devastating storm. So it was interesting when you said how, you know, and then they used that structure to be able to provide food and resources for people after the storm when, as you said, a lot of people just had to leave. They had no other choice. So I appreciate you working through this process. I know it's been a long one.
It has.
I was at your first initial meeting, as I'm sure my other council members were, and it didn't go well for you, but you guys stuck it out, so we'll look forward to seeing. The question I have is, if it's approved today, what is the timeline, or do you have a timeline yet? I know you'd mentioned that the church would be first. But are you going to try to do them concurrently, or are you going to do the church first and then go to the single-family homes, or what are your plans?
So the plan would be the church first. We would do the site work for the residential at the same time we do the site work for the church. And we are in for the civil permit, the development order now. We have everything submitted for the building permit. I've got one piece of paper I've got to get filled out, but everything is submitted. And ultimately, depending on how long it takes to get permits, which I expect to be 3 to 4 months, give or take, our intention is to start first quarter of next year on the church, do the residential site work. And, frankly, the residential will proceed as fast as demand dictates. We only have so much control over that, but we certainly want to move forward as fast as demand will allow.
And will these homes be individually built, or are they going to be manufactured type homes like we're seeing that come in and get craned into place?
No, they will definitely be individually built, and we will do a model at some point. Once we get the church going, at some point over that next 12-month period, we would do a model, and then we would proceed from there.
Very good. Thanks, Jonathan. Karen?
Yep. Excuse me. I want to thank you for clearing up all those issues that were outstanding. That was a huge piece, I think, of all of our concerns.
Trust me, I wanted them cleared up almost as much as you.
Good. I do have one question. In the presentation, page 12, it says, "No social services or rehabilitation programs will be conducted on this site." Historically, Beach Baptist has been a huge social service church, building, property. Can you kind of go into more detail of what this means?
So, there's been a lot of conversation about the past with the church, and, I wasn't here, so I feel your pain, but I didn't experience it. But, the intent is for the church to operate like a typical church going forward. And I would also say that the church had some facilities in the past that they will not have going forward. So I think a lot of the problems that occurred will be resolved simply from the fact that they no longer have those facilities. But I also think the plan going forward is there will be, the current pastor is staying on until we get the church built, but there is a succession plan that's in the works, and it will be a different church going forward than it was in the past. Now, they still have a heart of service and they want to help the community, but I think many of the, for lack of a better word, nuisance type issues that existed in the past should not exist going forward. And I think, again, they no longer have those facilities. They have a church building that is going to be operated like a church and not like some of the ancillary issues they had in the past.
Great, thank you.
Counselor Safford?
Mr. Mayor, you asked my question, so with regards to the name, I know it's not a big deal, but in the development order, it says First Baptist Church.
So I think that, I had a minute to think about that. I think that is the name of their corporation.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's, Beach Baptist was the name they operated under, but First Baptist was actually their corporate entity.
Yeah, I commend you all for what you've done in the last 2 weeks. I have some friends that rode that storm out in that building, so it's crazy that everyone survived, but I'm excited going forward. This is going to be a great development, and thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Any questions for Jason? No? Thanks, Jason. Public comment. Is there anyone that'd like to speak in public comment on this hearing? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. I assume there's no rebuttal comments from the applicant. I will now close the public hearing, request a discussion or a motion from the town council to approve with conditions, or deny with reasons, or a continuance to a time certain. Discussion or a motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would move the approval of ordinance 25-17, First Baptist Home Rule D8.
All right, got a motion by Vice Mayor Adderholt.
I will second.
Seconded by Counselor Safford. Any further discussion? Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Aye.
Counselor Safford?
Aye.
Counselor Woodson?
Aye.
Counselor King?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next is, if I can get my computer to work. It is, yeah. A legislative agenda item is the second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 25-18. This is an ordinance of the town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, amending section 34-232, required hearings of Division 5, public hearings and review of Article 2, zoning procedures of Chapter 34, zoning districts, design standards, and nonconformities, to require only one public hearing before the local planning agency, LPA, for special exceptions that only replace like-for-like structures that were existing prior to natural disaster event. If the decision by eligible members of the LPA is unanimous and the town clerk does not receive a request for any additional public hearing before the town council from anyone, including town staff, within 10 days after the LPA decision, providing for codification, severability, scrivener's errors, conflicts of law, and an effective date. Jason?
Thank you, sir. Jason Green, Community Development. It's a text amendment, second reading, to modify your land development code to make essentially an expedited hearing process for, as you mentioned, the like for like. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Scott? Go ahead, Nancy. It looks like you were leaning in.
Yeah, I was just going to add, this is very similar to the variance one hearing process that has been implemented. That process seems to be going very well. And this would allow only a very small type of special exception to go through that process. It would be the like for like.
Okay. Very straightforward. Scott, questions?
No questions, but I'm 100% for this. Anything that can speed up the process and get shovels in the ground and save people money, I'm all for it.
All right. Counselor Woodson?
What Scott said.
Vice Mayor Adol?
I concur.
Counselor King?
Thanks, Nancy, for clearing that up. It's nice to know that that part of the is moving well, so I agree with everyone else.
Yeah, this is another good step forward. I hope staff continues to look for other ways to expedite, not just special exceptions, if there's anything that we can do, special event permits, anything we can do to streamline a process for those who are trying to bring good to the community. I would certainly hope we continue to find ways like this to be able to streamline things and make it less costly and faster for everyone.
Yes, sir.
All right. With that, is there a motion for, public comment, sorry. Is there anyone here? Would you like to speak? Anyone here in public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Any further discussion or a motion?
Mayor, I'll move ordinance 25-18, expedited special exception ordinance.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Counselor King, seconded by Counselor Safford. Any further discussion? Counselor King?
Aye.
Counselor Safford?
Aye.
Counselor Woodson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach rescinding and revoking without prejudice variance. Oh, we pulled that, I'm sorry. Moving on. Thank you. I'm glad somebody was paying attention. Administrative agenda. This is the first agenda is accept the fiscal year 2024 audit report prepared by Malden and Jenkins. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, everyone. Joe Wanzik, Finance Director. I know this is probably like old news by now. The audit was actually completed, well, it was originally completed for the August 11th Audit Committee meeting. We needed to make a couple corrections to the audit, and then by the time the Audit Committee could meet again, it ended up being October 24th. So at the October 24th meeting is when the audit was presented to the Audit Committee. The audit itself was completed by the end of August, which was 2 months later than the official due date. The town had been in communication with the Auditor General's office and the State of Florida Financial Department with regard to that, and so we had August 31st was like our new deadline to submit everything, and that deadline was met. So at the Audit Committee, that's when the audit was, at the Audit Committee meeting, that is when the audit was presented. Wade Sansbury was the partner from the audit firm Malden and Jenkins who presented the audit, and he began by introducing himself as having 30 years of experience. And he also let us know that his fellow partner, Joel Black, is now the current chair of the Government Accounting Standards Board, which is the highest governing body regarding the government accounting regulations in the nation. So I just mention those things to you so that you may be able to appreciate the high level of expertise they bring as the town's auditors. Mr. Sansbury began his presentation by letting us know that they issued an unmodified opinion, which is a clean audit report opinion within the audit report, which is the highest form of assurance that can be provided. As part of the audit, they noted, which he referred to as two insignificant accounting findings. One was regarding the accounts payable, which there were a few invoices that had really belonged to fiscal year FY24 that were included in FY25, but these were invoices that came later and they were not picked up at the time that they should have been dated back to FY24. The other finding was it was regarding revenue recognition. That's regarding revenue from one of our grants. It's a little bit complicated in determining when it should be recognized. It was one of the last things that should have and would have been done just prior to the audit in terms of checking for that, but I had already left at that point, and the other person who was aware of that had already left. So unfortunately, there was nobody left here at the town who was aware that that needed to be checked for, and so that was one of the other findings. But in his words, he considered that insignificant. He also made a point of emphasizing that the town received a significant amount of federal and state awards. He mentioned there was $34 million worth that required 6 single audits to be performed. He said that that's $34 million of activity that is typically not a part of the town's overall operations. Yet, given that was the case, there were no issues with regard to the usage or spending of those funds. He expressed that he was very happy with how the town's finance department took care of all the books and records. So hopefully his comments and the clean audit opinion provides a basis for having confidence in our financial statements and the financial management. So at the end of the meeting then, or at the end of his presentation, the audit committee unanimously recommended that the audit report be accepted. And so this motion that we're asking you to make is to also accept the audit report.
Counselor King, questions for Joe?
Nothing.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
None.
Counselor Woodson?
I'm good.
Counselor Safford?
I just want to say congratulations. Well done, given what we've been through and what you guys are going through. To get a clean audit like that is phenomenal.
Well said. I think it just reiterates how well you guys do your job, and we're glad to have you back, Joe.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
I have a quick question, Joe. Can we bring the council up to date as to the future of using that firm?
Oh, sure. Their contract had expired, and their allowable extensions have, as far as part of the original contract, have also expired. So we're required to go out and request proposals again. You can, or the audit committee would be the ones who would select the new auditors. They could select the same audit firm again if they chose, assuming they were to submit a proposal. But that's really their decision to make and their recommendation to make to you. And we're hoping to get the proposals in by the time they meet in December. But we'll schedule the meeting as soon as possible after the proposals come in and give them enough time to review them and make their recommendation.
Very good. Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
All right, is there any discussion or a motion to approve the fiscal year 2024 audit report?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we accept the fiscal year 2024 audit report.
All right.
I'll second.
Motion by Counselor Safford, seconded by Counselor Woodson. Any further discussion? Counselor Safford?
Aye.
Counselor Woodson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Aye.
Counselor King?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next, we have an approval of a special event requested by the Whale Restaurant located at 1249 Estero Boulevard for the Whale is Back Sneak Peek Bash, celebrating the reopening of the Whale Restaurant on Saturday, November 8th, 2025, starting at 1 p.m. to 1 a.m., November 9th, 2025, including of the waiver of the town's noise ordinance. Will?
Yeah, so this request has come in, it's gone through all of our staff and our process. Tom, if you want to speak to any direct questions on their request for, a waiver or anything else along with this, I'll ask Tom to come up and do that if you have questions, otherwise.
The only
we're in
question
support.
the only question I had was concerning, some residents in the neighborhood are concerned about the noise ordinance. Is that till 1 o'clock, or is it gonna stop at 10 o'clock? What,
So, again, Tom Shazo, Fort Myers Beach Emergency Services Director. When they put this in, they asked till 1 o'clock. So it was a concern I had as well, for us to maintain the noise ordinance. It should stop any noise outside of their scope that's amplified should be stopping at 10 o'clock. But that's why you'll see it's in there that they're asking for a variance in that space.
okay. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about it, quite honestly, just based on people that live around there. I know what's gonna come should this go till 1 o'clock with very loud music, but I'll open to listening to what my fellow counselors have to say. John?
Thanks for starting with me.
I'm trying to go back.
Yeah, I guess nothing currently.
Vice Mayor?
Well, I'd say a couple things. I'd say, first of all, this is a one-time occurrence. It's a very special event, and they did come in advance and ask for permission, and I think that's the way it should be done. And so I think in this unique situation, I have no issues with it.
Counselor Woodson?
I am in the same camp as Vice Mayor. This is a celebration. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. And for one night, being 3 hours over limit, I don't see the harm in it at all, and I would be fully supportive of this.
Counselor Sefford?
I feel for the neighbors, can we do it like midnight?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to bring up the concerns because they were brought up to me. I'm not, I don't want to micromanage an hour,
Why?
quite honestly.
But, yeah,
But
still.
Knowing the Millers, they're respectful. I don't expect them to be too out of hand, but I wanted to bring it up just so that it was on the record that there were some concerns about it. And if it gets out of hand, we know we'll get the emails about it, but I agree with every, I mean, it's
Well,
one day.
Yeah, it's one day. It's gonna be a whale of a good time too, so.
And to be clear,
What's that? Jesus.
the Millers have been respectful to the noise ordinance in the past. They actually set up their own equipment to monitor it. They would get, if it got too loud when they weren't there, they would tell their people to quiet down a little bit. So they have paid attention to this in the past, to be fair to them.
And I'm, just for the record, I'm assuming you're coordinating with LCSO?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Everybody's on the same page?
Yes, I've already contacted the 3rd Precinct Commander about it. We've had discussions about it. He's on board for deputy and staff that night. I will keep a ranger a little bit later that night to help. We will make sure that if it gets to be too obtrusive, that we will go and have discussion with the owners at that time.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
There's no other questions. Is there a motion for the special event for the Whale is Back Sneak Peek Bash?
I'll move this forward to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Woodson, seconded by Counselor King. Any further discussion? Counselor Woodson?
Aye.
Counselor King?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Aye.
Counselor Safford?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is 25-299, the First Amendment to the Water Meter Project. This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving a First Amendment to the agreement approved by Resolution 25-235 with National Metering Service for the Water Meter Replacement Program in an amount not to exceed $1,619,790 to authorize a meter model change from a radio frequency RF model to a cellular cell model for both the 5/8 and 1-inch meter sizes and meter antennas, which will increase the price by $204,162 for a new total cost of $1,823,952 to utilize cellular technology to, 1, assure 100% coverage of the island for distribution of monitoring, meter reading, and customer interface, and 2, retain a reliable, safe, and efficient meter and distribution monitoring system, authorizing the town manager to execute the First Amendment to the agreement and providing for an effective date. Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. The details are all in there. You read over them. This is just moving this process forward. We realize there's an opportunity for a better, more timely, accurate, and resilient system. Jeff Hauge is here if you have detailed questions about the system in more or how we're going to move forward with this.
All right. Counselor Safford, any questions?
Not at this time.
Counselor Woodson?
No.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Yeah, if I could, just for the record, Jeff, if you could come up and just, this is great technology, and I think, one of the things I think that we probably ought to highlight is that in the long term, this potential tremendous cost savings. You want to talk about that for just a second?
I was already on. Jeff Hauge, Community Services Director, Town of Fort Myers Beach. Yeah, we had initially done the antenna one, which was going to be great anyway. It was going to allow us to drive around a little bit better and collect the data. The cellular device that we learned kind of after the fact is they're in the ground. So if we have a storm, we may have to replace all those antennas. And the antennas may go down during a storm or a disaster situation. The cellular stays on as long as we have cellular communications. And I know a lot of times, especially now, you know, we went to a conference and they were talking about, I talked to somebody about Verizon, they come down right away with portable things. So we can be right up online. I know last time we kind of gave away some costs as far as water meters because all the meters needed to be replaced. So the cellular data will allow us not even to have to drive around anymore. It'll be instantaneous data where we can get accurate readings, of course, and then they can see them in real time on their phone. So when they look at their app online or look on the website, they'll be able to see real-time data. So if they do end up having a leak or there's some questions about, you know, did I leave my spigot on outside, they can look and without even calling us and see the usage that it goes. So the cellular data is just going to help greatly. It's inside the meter, which is great. It's not an antenna on the outside of it, so it's just going to be good overall.
And it's actual data. There's no estimates anymore, right? It's an actual read. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, it was always actual data with meter
But
reads.
in the old days, they used to sometimes do estimates, and it's just nice to have that actual read. But I think the other piece of this puzzle is that if you do have a leak, it becomes readily apparent, not only to prevent any damage, but also if there's an aberration in the bill, it also allows the customer to go to the town and say, hey, something's amiss here, and here's my history. And it's all, there's so much data now that
Yeah.
there's no mystery anymore to this whole exercise. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
agreed. And as far as the estimating, we put a stop to that anyway because we're going and digging up every single meter, even if we can't read it. We're digging holes, trying to find every meter. And since Ian, I think we found almost all of them if they've been recording.
Yeah, I think this is great. Thank you.
Jeff, since you're there, this is kind of a little off topic, but I have had a few people recently reach out about their water bill specifically, and it's extremely low in the past, and they're concerned that if you remember after Ian, when our electrical services got on, we weren't getting bills for like 4 or 5 months, and all of a sudden you're getting hit with a $3,000 and $4,000 electric bill. So they're concerned that in this changeover, that these low bills are all of a sudden going to turn into one big fat bill once the system catches up. Is there anything we can do to alleviate? Is that going to happen? Is it not going to happen?
I have not heard that, honestly. But I'll check with the billing. Billing's actually under finance, so I'll work with Joe to talk through that. I haven't heard of that. I've definitely heard of some large ones that were leaks on the customer side that we've tried to remedy, but I haven't heard of the low ones.
Well,
So
one
please refer
customer
them
that-
to the billing department on that.
One customer yesterday had a very large substantial leak for 24 hours, and their bill was less than what it was the month before. So they're concerned that the system might eventually catch up, and there's going to be a very large water bill coming.
Yeah, so the cellular service isn't in yet. We still have to put those in. So they'll still continue. If they have a leak, say today, it won't be on there till their next bill. So they may see it next billing cycle.
Okay.
But if they do have questions, they can definitely call the utilities department and the billing department to see if we can remedy that. And I know Mark Ashton, our utilities manager, is very on top of going out and looking at problems. I know he's worked with a number of both businesses and residents going to, you know, kind of our job is to go from the water meter to, or from the distribution to the meter, and then it's on the resident and the business side after it goes from the meter as far as kind of coverage if there's a leak. But he's done a great job of going out trying to, help the residents out with whatever they can. If he gets permission, he'll go, and he's even, seen instances where they just leave the spigot, the water spigot on, and they can just tell it's running, so they can see what that's like.
Jeff, while you're up there, we don't have an opportunity to talk about this very often. Could you talk a little bit about particularly with people coming back for season? The town has, I think, kind of a cool and unique program for folks who want to fill their swimming pool, and they get a little bit of grace. You want to talk about that just for a second while you're here?
Yeah, you get a one-time credit. It doesn't fill your whole pool. It's just a credit of, and I believe it's, Joe, if you could help me out with that one, that's the pool credit. I think it's 9,000 gallons, I think. Something like that. I'll get the information, but I know it's a one-time per year thing to refill up your pool. Yeah, and they just have to contact the utilities billing department and set that up.
That's what I wanted. That's perfect. Thank you.
No, I agree.
Unless you
Jeff.
wanted to add, Joe.
No, nothing to add.
Okay.
All right. Council Woodson, any questions for Jeff or staff?
No, I have none.
Council Stafford?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, could you just address the funding for this request?
Yeah, the water fund.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Is there any further discussion or a motion for 25-299 First Amendment to the water meter project?
So moved.
All right. Got a motion by Councilor King,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Woodson. Any further discussion? Councilor King?
Aye.
Councilor Woodson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Aye.
Councilor Safford?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is Resolution 25-319, amended utility easement. This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach accepting an amended utility easement from the Leo James DiBiase Living Trust UTD 08-20-25 and providing for an effective date. Nancy?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is really kind of a cleanup one. This all stems from an issue, some litigation that occurred back last December. Subsequent to that, there was a settlement agreement, at which point the town would pay Mr. DiBiase some money along with our liability carrier to make him whole. Basically, we put some pipes, some of our infrastructure on his property. And part of that settlement agreement required him to go ahead and give us an easement so that our pipes would legally be where they are. So it kind of went back and forth with the easement, and we brought the easement, a utility easement, to you for acceptance, which you did, but unbeknownst to everyone, there was actually just a transfer from one of his trusts to another trust. So this request is really technical in nature, making sure that the utility easement that the town receives is from the current owner of the property. But substantively, there's really no changes to it. It's just changing the name of the grantor.
Very good. Councilor King, any questions for Nancy?
Nothing.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
None.
Councilor Woodson?
None.
Councilor Safford?
None.
I do not have any as well. Is there any more discussion or a motion for Resolution 25-319 to amend the utility easement?
So moved.
All right, motion
Second.
by Councilor Woodson, seconded by Councilor King. Any further discussion? Councilor Woodson?
Aye.
Councilor King?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Adderholt?
Aye.
Councilor Safford?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Brings us to our final public comment.